interest. Okay, let's play the rest of that piece, and then we're going to move on here.
Instead of respecting the views and values of most parents, the common sense idea that the ideal for children as a mother and father will be redefined as a form of discrimination. And that's just plain wrong. But that's not all. Imposing same-sex marriage through the rule of law poses real threats to the religious liberty of Catholics and people of other faith traditions. Anthony Piccarello is a noted religious liberty expert and the top lawyer for Catholic bishops in America. Piccarello says same-sex marriage laws are
something that could have a very profound impact on traditional institutions like the Catholic Church and its members who persist in that traditional teaching about marriage. If same-sex marriage becomes the law, then those who oppose it increasingly will be viewed as bigots. The law will essentially punish wherever it's possible that kind of speech, conduct, assembly for those purposes.
Other potential risks include professional licenses for Catholic doctors, attorneys, social workers, teachers, psychiatrists, marriage counselors, and others. School accreditations will be threatened, along with the tax-exempt status of Catholic schools and charities. One of the nation's leading gay newspapers recently asked, could churches in time risk their tax-exempt status by refusing to marry gays? Their answer? That remains to be seen, and will likely result in a steady stream of court battles. Legal experts like law professor Robin Wilson watch and study the same-sex marriage debate closely. Although she has not taken a public position on same-sex marriage, Wilson is concerned about its impact on the tax-exempt status of religious schools, charities, and other organizations.
And I've been asked whether that's indeed a credible threat.
All right. Now, I think I talked about this last week, but it was in a letter to the editor, and the point that the writer of the letter said was that the churches should stay out of government. No, government should stay out of the churches. Government should not be able to coerce the churches with this tax-exempt status. If that separation is there, you know, and the Constitution was only about the government establishing a state church. In other words, this is the church of the land. That's what that was about. It wasn't about the churches telling the church members what Scripture said and how that applied to their government and how that applied to these candidates. See, so government needs to stay out of the churches, and I think it was in Monday's paper, there's another church, I believe it was a Baptist church in Hastings, that's challenging the government again on coming into the church and telling the church, no, you don't have the right of free speech to tell your members what is, how a good Christian should think about voting. So we'll leave it at that. This is a big issue. And so especially with Maplewood, with their Monday night, this coming Monday, first reading of redefining family and marriage. All right, let's move on. I keep getting one more piece of house cleaning here. Cameras. White Bear Avenue, I mentioned this before, there's cameras on the poles now. Government is going to be watching you. If you go down White Bear Avenue, the new roadway, look up on the poles, they have cameras all along. Phelan Park is going to have cameras. Government is watching you. But if you want to watch government, if we take a camera down to government, we're locked out. Oh, you can't have cameras in the courtroom. You can't have cameras in the Capitol other than the corridors. You can't watch what your government is doing to you, but government is watching you. So just understand this, and you ought to be outraged that if government watches you, that you surely ought to have the right to watch government, or the press ought to have the right to watch government and share that with you. All right, let's, I wanted to talk about the new assistant Ramsey County manager and the job that was created for this person, Heather Worthington, and how she moved up from a community organizers to Falcon Heights to Eden Prairie to I mean, it's unbelievable, folks. But I'm going to explain the connections there. So this is from a county that doesn't have any money, and they create a new position for this person. So just know when they say they're out of money, it doesn't really wash. They can always make you to cough up more money. All right, let's have our guest on now.
Yeah.
Good evening. Half hour later, Rich Bennett, and thanks for being with us, Rich. Let's talk about the North St. Paul Maplewood School Board race, and of course you're our endorsed candidate in that race.
Good.
And let's see how many names I know. Some 3-4 of the other people that are running, but you're the choice.
Well, it's a wobbly race because we started with 9 people running for 3 seats.
Okay.
Then we went down to 8 when Scott Dudek bowed out.
And let me stop you right there. Scott Dudek was our other choice, and Scott Dudek is the only person that brought any real sanity to that board and would actually question these endless project and expenditures of money when they bring in these consultants and architects and engineers, and the rest of the board was we're like bobblehead.
They just sit there.
Well, it's like the administration says this is it, and yeah, okay, bobblehead dolls. So we got rid of the one person. He took on, and people ask, well, why did Scott Dudek not run for the board again? We wanted to make sure he stayed on there. In the city of North St. Paul, they added a whole nother layer of duties for him. He's fire chief, public works director. He had to take back over public works director, and he has another position. And with all that happening now, he didn't have time for the school board on top of it. So that's why he's not running, just so people understand that's why he's not running. So he had 3 seats, went down to 9, then it went down to 8, and where's it at now?
Now it's down to 7. Another gal had backed out after the cutoff date, so her name will still be on the list. But she decided to back out.
Back out,
some
okay.
other reason.
So we have 7 candidates.
And then we had a candidate for him, and Robert Martin, who's a good guy, he got tied up in something else and he couldn't make it. So he didn't get a chance to, give his viewpoints, and I would have been really interested in hearing some of his.
And I like Robert too. Robert's been out here. We've had Robert on the show on some other issues, Maplewood issues. So yeah, it would have been good if Robert would have been there to add some additional thoughts.
It was good that you brought up the $30 million that we levied against our poor taxpayers to pay for pensions and benefits of retired people. It's $30 million, but it only affects 351 people.
300
So we're giving $30 million to 351 people.
Wow. Isn't that nice, folks? Did you get that? 351 people are the beneficiary of 30 million. Well, that's only a part of it, because there was the other funded part. So totally, I don't know, what do they got, about 100 million for that 351 people?
I don't know, they're really throwing money away. And you look at 30 million, it's hard to grasp how much that is. But you look at Skyview, which is an elementary and a middle school, that only cost us 22 million. So for what we levied for these 300 people, we could have built another school.
And that's Chuck Weger, folks. That's Chuck Weger. That's the Nancy Livingston Pioneer Press endorsed person, you know. So just start to understand what's going on here. Okay.
It's not hard to understand why Nancy Livingston got her note in and the rest of us didn't, because she used to be a reporter for the Pioneer Press.
That's true. Nancy Livingston has that connection down there. So her letter gets in, and the other people's letters don't. The people that wrote in about Maplewood's trash cartel, they didn't get theirs in, but Nancy got hers in. Of course, for Chuck Weger, but of course Chuck Weger is the poster boy for the Pioneer Press. So, all right. So, you know, the other thing, okay, there's 30 million. The other one, you know, when I was talking about this trash hauling, North St. Paul Maplewood schools spend $7 million a year driving kids around, stopping and starting on these roads. And I said, you know what? If anything has to go, I would sooner see the school buses go than the garbage trucks go. Because at least if the school buses go, there's a tri-sector there. Tri-sector means you pick 3 winners. So first of all, you save the $7 million, so the school district budget goes ahead. You save the roads, and then the third piece is that these obese children now get to walk to school, and they're not quite so bad off. So there you go, 7 million, and then that 30 million. Pretty soon we're going to have some real money here.
Well, and there's a lot of real money in this district. We burn through about $160 million a year.
160 million a year.
And one
for 160 million for
1,100 students.
For
or 11,000.
11,000 students.
Now, one of the things I was looking at today.
So when people at home, when you want to find out how much you spend per student, take that 160 million and divide it by 11,000. That's how much you're spending per student in this district. And then ask yourself, what kind of education could they get in a non-public school for that kind of money?
Well, you know, in our school, we have a ranking. There's 39 metro school districts, and we have a ranking. Where's our ranking in reading? Our ranking is 30th. So we're in the bottom 25% of reading ability in our district. And this is the district that Mark Wheeler, who's running against me, claims is an excellent district. The bottom 25% he thinks is excellence. I don't understand that.
And, you know, there's been a, what's the, I don't know if one of the viewers watching can call in. There was a, Mark Wheeler had there was a, you know, like we did for all the Maplewood council people. They all had their little acronyms. But Wheeler had one too. And, you know, I saw there was a letter in the paper by, I think it was the business.
Denny Sullivan, our former business manager.
Lives in White Bear Lake,
yeah.
I believe.
Well, he can't afford to live here with our taxes.
Right, he lives in White Bear Lake and tells the people vote for Mr. Wheeler because Mr. Wheeler kept the grease, kept feeding the monster. So, okay. We're down to the 20, what percent?
We're the bottom 25% of all.
And now, folks, I want to say right out here that we don't blame the teachers for this one bit. That the blame, especially in inner city schools, is these administrators have no clue what it's like being in a classroom anymore. And they put the blame on the teachers. It's the parents, they're part of the equation. Sending these students to school prepared, spending time doing homework with them, and not blaming the teacher. So in any case, 25% in the bottom 25% in reading and